Welcome to Reverse Mortgage Radio, hosted by Legend's very own reverse mortgage professor, Bruce Simmons. You have so many options with a reverse mortgage, everyone has a different opinion, and the government keeps changing the rules. You need to hear from the first certified reverse mortgage professional in Colorado to specialize exclusively in reverse mortgages, one of few in the state with the letters CRMP after his name. Bruce has the specific training and education you need to understand what you're buying. Now, here's your host, Bruce Simmons.
Welcome to the Halloween edition of Reverse Mortgage Radio. I know Halloween's a few days away, but this is the last time we're going to be able to talk before Halloween. So I figured it was a good idea to tell you a couple quick stories. First of all, it was a dark, stormy night, and an elderly couple was sitting at home nervously reading about reverse mortgages. Suddenly, the lights flicker, and a chill fills the room. A ghostly figure appears, floating above them, whispering ominously, "I am the ghost of home equity, and I've come to take what's mine." The couple screams, but then the husband, clearly unimpressed, crosses his arms and says, "Not so fast, spirit. We've already got a reverse mortgage." The ghost pauses, confused. "Wait, what? A reverse mortgage?" The husband nods confidently. "Yep, the bank's already getting the house. You're too late." The ghost groans in frustration, muttering, "Man, I hate paperwork," before disappearing into the night. The wife looks at her husband and says, "Well, at least that's one less thing to worry about." All right, that's one, and we're going to talk about this, believe it or not. The second one, a zombie walks into the bank on Halloween night and shuffles up to the teller. "I'd like to apply for a reverse mortgage," he groans. The teller, trying to be helpful, says, "Sir, a reverse mortgage is usually for people who want to stay in their home while using its value." The zombie interrupts, "Exactly. That's just what I want, to rest in peace in my own home." The teller raises an eyebrow and asks, "Do you even live in the home?" The zombie grins sheepishly and says, "Well, I used to." Okay, let's talk about this, because I found these jokes online. They're stupid, of course, but I still wanted to talk about them, because today we're going to be talking about the top 5 fears about reverse mortgages. And the first one goes along with that first joke, quote unquote. I know, I'm sorry, it's bad, but it illustrates a point. There are still a lot of people who do not understand the way reverse mortgages work, and they're afraid of losing their home. That's the number one fear that people have about reverse mortgage. The bank's going to take the home, or the bank owns the home. They're losing their home. And we need to address that, because a lot of borrowers fear that, especially if they don't meet the loan conditions, like living in the home, for example, then they could lose the house. And a reverse mortgage is designed to allow people to stay in their home as long as they follow the requirements. The way a reverse mortgage works, real briefly, is it's a loan that's specifically designed for people 62 and over. We can go down to age 55 for people when they have enough equity and for non-FHA loans, but most people get an FHA insured loan, and the minimum age for that is 62. And what it is it's a loan that's designed to convert a portion of the value of your home into money that you can use. And as long as you live in the home, these are the conditions. You have to live in the home as your primary residence. You have to pay the property taxes, pay the homeowner's insurance, keep your name on title, and maintain the home, the exterior and interior of the home. You can't let it fall apart. So those 5 conditions are what you have to do. You have to pay your own taxes and insurance because you own the house. The bank does not own the house. It's your house. You can sell it anytime you want. If you 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the road, something happens and you have to leave the home, you can sell it. Whatever equity is in the home is still yours, unlike that joke, okay? By the way, too, if if you don't know what you're listening to, you are listening to Reverse Mortgage Radio. My name is Bruce Simmons. I'm the Reverse Mortgage Manager for American Liberty Mortgage Incorporated here in Denver. We've been in business since 2003. Coincidentally, American Liberty Mortgage they started American Liberty Mortgage the same year that I started originating reverse mortgages. I was working for the evil empire when I first started, which is a big bank, and I was there for 8.5 years, and then I went somewhere else very briefly for 6 months, and then in 2011, actually, I started working for American Liberty Mortgage, and I'm the reverse mortgage manager there. So I've been there a long time, and I'm going to stay here because it's a great company to work for. I say all that to kind of let you know that I understand how reverse mortgages work. I've closed well over 1,000 reverse mortgage loans, and knock on wood, in all these years, I've never had a customer or a family member come back to me and tell me they've regretted doing the loan, because I make sure that they understand it going into it. And I'm there when they have questions after the fact too. So years afterwards, people call me with questions, and I'm still there. I've had the same phone number, by the way, which is 303-467-7821. That's my direct line, 303-467-7821. I've had that phone number since 1999, before I even started reverse mortgages. It's a number that rings to an office that's in my house, and I have it forwarded to my cell phone now because I'm never here. I work either in the office or I'm out seeing people. I go out to people's homes to meet with them. You can also contact me online with any questions about reverse mortgages as well. You can download my consumer guide. It's totally free at reversemortgageradio.net, www.reversemortgageradio.net. That's my website. Download the consumer guide, or you can also find out how much money we can loan you by clicking the button in the upper right-hand portion of the homepage that says free reverse mortgage quote or something along that line. And you can input basic information. I do not need a social security number, and you'll actually get a quote, a number pop up, says how much money you can qualify for. Odds are, because of the way the algorithms work and stuff, the closing costs are higher than what I normally charge, and you could get more money. I don't know exactly how much. I need to actually work the numbers myself, but I can't customize that as much on that side as I can if we talk and then I work up the figures. So you can always feel free to call me at the 303-467-7821. But the number one reason people don't do reverse mortgages is they fear they're going to lose their home. And that's it's a misconception. It's a misunderstanding of how the product works, because it's your home. Your heirs will inherit the home too. That's the second most common fear people have, that their heirs will lose the home or the equity in the home. They're afraid because they think that the bank's going to take the home. So basically, the heirs have options. When normally the loan comes due when you permanently leave the home, the last homeowner permanently leaves the home. That could be the heirs moving you into assisted living if you've got Alzheimer's or something, or you just need physical help and you can't live in your home alone, or if you pass away, your heirs inherit the home. They sell the home for whatever the value is, and then they pay off the reverse mortgage out of those proceeds, and then they keep the equity. Odds are, because we don't loan 70 or 80% of the value to start with, we're loaning 35, 40% of the value most of the time, sometimes 45 or 50 if you're older. But we don't loan a huge amount up front. And most people don't even take all the money up front, so they're not charged interest on money that they don't borrow. Basically, FHA dictates to us how much we can loan. It's based on the value of the home, the age of the youngest homeowner, and the interest rate. As the interest rate increases, the amount of money we can loan decreases as a percentage of the value of the home. For example, back in 2020, 2021, we were loaning 50% of the value to people who were 62 years old. Last year, or even earlier this year, for people 62, we were loaning like 31%. of the value, like 20% less, because the interest rate went up so much. Now we're a little higher, but unfortunately, rates have been going up over the last few weeks. And believe it or not, I know you hear all this stuff about the Federal Reserve lowering the interest rate. They did, but then there's all this other economic data that comes out and things that other the Federal Reserve governors say about, oh, well, we may not be able to loan or to lower as much as we want because they're worried about inflation again now with the economy heating up. Supposedly, I don't know that I believe it, but because they always adjust the jobs report down the next month afterwards too when nobody's paying attention. But either way, the rates are going up again, which means that the amount we can loan goes down. But that doesn't mean it's not a good time to take a look at it and see if it makes sense for you now. You may decide not to do it at all. You may decide to wait. You may decide to do it now with the possibility of refinancing down the road. Either way, what happens is you're only charged interest on whatever money you borrow. And then that interest accrues over time, so the loan balance increases. But remember, odds are the value of your home is also increasing, probably at a faster pace. Even if you're being charged 6 or 7% on the reverse mortgage and the appreciation rate is only 4 or 5%, you're getting 4 or 5% on, say, a $500,000 home, and you're only being charged 6 or 7% on a $150,000 or $200,000 loan. So dollar figure wise, you're still gaining more in appreciation than you're losing in interest charged. The way the loan works is you're charged interest every month, but you don't have to pay it. The interest gets added to the loan balance over time. We have to pay off any existing loans on your home. If you call me and you've got a $100,000 mortgage on your home and you're telling me you want $20,000 for a new car or something, well, we have to pay off the existing mortgage first so you no longer have that mortgage payment, and then we can give you the other $20,000 for the car. But that's kind of how it works, and you're only charged interest on what you borrow. So what I'm saying is that odds are there's going to be a lot of equity left for your heirs. If your heirs don't want to sell the home, though, they do not have to. They could keep the home and simply refinance the reverse mortgage. Let's say it's worth $600,000 when you pass and you owe $250,000. That means there's $350,000 equity in the home. The heirs can go get a new loan for the $250,000 that's owed against the house. They pay off the reverse mortgage. The reverse mortgage lender's happy because they got their money back plus the interest. And your heirs are happy because they keep the house and they still have $350,000 in equity. Or they could use life insurance money or other assets to pay off the reverse mortgage. Whatever they want, they can keep it. Also, this is something too. Let's say interest rates go sky high. You took out all the money you can. Property values drop by 50% just when you happen to pass away. You're upside down on the house. You owe more on the house than it's actually worth. Well, that's kind of scary. Not really. Not with a reverse mortgage, because you can never be kicked out of the house. You can never outlive your loan. You just can't outlive it. You could run out of money and not have any additional money from the reverse mortgage, but you always can stay in the home as long as you pay your taxes and insurance, you maintain the home, live there as your primary residence, and keep your name on title. Okay? So as long as you do those things, you could stay in the house forever. Well, and not like the zombie, and you have to live in the home, okay? But you can stay there regardless of how much is owed compared to the value. Your heirs still inherit the home, but they do not inherit any debt beyond the value of the home. Worst case scenario, your house is only worth $400,000, you owe $600,000 on the reverse mortgage. You pass away, your heirs inherit the home. They're like, oh my gosh, Mom and Dad owed $200,000 more on that house. How are we going to pay for that? They don't have to. They do not have to pay it. They can simply sign the house over to the lender and walk away. It's what's called a non-recourse loan. There's mortgage insurance on all reverse mortgage loans just for that purpose. So, but let's say this is a home they want to keep. They do not have to pay the full amount owed. They would only pay 95% of whatever the value, and this would be the appraised value at the time that you pass away. So you pass away, the lender gets an appraisal for $400,000. Your heirs want to keep the house. They can go get a new loan for $380,000, 95% of $400,000, and keep the house regardless of how much you owe on it. So your heirs can keep the home. So that's the second fear. Number one is losing the home. Number two is the heirs losing the home. Number three, complicated terms and conditions. A lot of people say reverse mortgages are complicated. Well, you dig into the minutia, anything's complicated. It's math. That's complicated in itself, right? But really, if you think about it, a reverse mortgage is not that complicated. You get a loan from the lender. They tell you how much they can loan you. It's let's say they can loan you $250,000 on your $600,000 home. You get this $250,000, you owe $100,000 on your existing mortgage. That has to be paid off. Boom. The first $100,000 out of the $250,000 that's available to you goes to pay off your existing mortgage. You no longer have that loan. That loan gets paid off completely. Now you owe $100,000. The other $150,000 is available to you. There's conditions in the first year. You can only take out so much in the first year of the loan. But you're only charged interest on the money that you actually use. You're also charged mortgage insurance. Remember, we talked about that in the last fear. There is mortgage insurance on the loan. And there's mortgage insurance charged at the closing, and there's mortgage insurance charged ongoing. Every month, you're going to get a statement in the mail or see your balance online. You're going to see two charges. One is for interest and one is for mortgage insurance. If looking at that statement is scarier than the benefits that you get from the loan, you should not do the reverse mortgage. Reverse mortgages are meant to relieve financial stress, not create it. Financial stress in retirement is very scary. That's a real scare, okay? A reverse mortgage is intended to relieve that financial scare, okay? So you've got to know yourself. Do not get a reverse mortgage if you know looking at that statement every month is going to cause you stress. Just don't do it. You're better off paying your mortgage or just doing without, whatever. If you own your home free and clear and you need a new car, you can't get it. Or you get a regular car loan and make a payment, whatever the case may be. Don't cause yourself more stress, okay? But that's the way reverse mortgages work. It's that simple. The loan comes due when you no longer live in the home. You're charged interest and mortgage insurance, but then the loan only comes due when you no longer live in the home. Your heirs inherit the home when you pass away, or you can sell it at any time. By the way, if you just tuned in, you are listening to Reverse Mortgage Radio. My name is Bruce Simmons. We're talking about the top 5 fears people have about reverse mortgages. And we're dealing with those fears like adults, right? My wife would be proud of me talking like that. You can reach me if you have any questions about reverse mortgages and you want to learn about them at 303-467-7821. You can also visit me online at reversemortgageradio.net. You can download my free consumer guide. That'll dispel a lot of fears, or it might create some too. If it creates some, then you realize a reverse mortgage is not for you. But most often, it's meant to clarify how it works so that you can understand it better. And once you understand it better, then you don't have to be afraid of it. You may decide not to do it, but you don't have to be afraid of it. So keep that in mind. You can also get a free quote by clicking the button in the upper right-hand side that says free reverse mortgage quote. And it's not, you're not going to leave your information for somebody to call you back a day later to grill you for more information and then give you a quote. No, you get the quote at the time. Now, that quote, the interest and closing costs are a tad higher than what I would be able to tell you if you called me in person. So either way, I don't care. But just understand, if you get a quote on my website, know that we can do a little bit better than that. And I'm working with my web guy to try to get that fixed. Anyways, that's the third one, is complicated terms and conditions, which leads to the fourth one. The fourth biggest fear is misleading sales practices. I heard a quote years and years ago, early on in my career. saying that people love to buy, but nobody wants to be sold. And that's not my goal. I'm not trying to sell you. I like to make sure you understand what you're doing so you can make an informed decision. That's the goal. Misleading sales practices, sometimes people worry about getting talked into something that's not in their best interest. Well, there are some safeguards, I guess. Number one, there's a lot of forms. This can be a bad thing too, because there's too many forms, I think. Everything is disclosed and disclosed again and again and again. I tell people I work for the Department of Redundancy Department because we disclose and we redisclose and we redisclose. And sometimes when you see the same thing different ways, it can be confusing. But that's why, number one, you have to talk to a reverse mortgage housing counselor before you're allowed to sign any paper. Well, let me back up. There are lenders who will take an application from you before you talk to a counselor. You should not do business with those people. Unless, okay, because I've got a loan going right now for a lady that did her loan application before she did her counseling, because interest rates are increasing, and we knew the interest rate was going to increase that week, the next week, so we signed her up this week to lock in the amount of money that she could get. If she waited, she would have got less money. So sometimes we do that. But on a regular basis, if you were just to call me, I would not just send you an application. That does not happen. I schedule a time to meet with you in person. Well, first off, we gather some information, find out what it is you're hoping to accomplish with a reverse mortgage. Then I work up figures, let you know what we could do. I check the values of homes in the neighborhood, do all that stuff to try to make sure that it makes sense for you. Because there's a lot of people I talk to that it doesn't make sense, or we can't qualify you. We cannot loan you enough money to pay off your existing mortgage. But a lot of people I can help, and I want to make sure that they understand everything about it and that this is the right decision for you. But then we meet, we go over everything in writing so you can see all the closing costs broken down. You could see the interest rate. You could see how much money is available, how much is going into a line of credit, or how much you're going to be receiving in a monthly payment, whatever the case may be, whatever your needs are. Then I give you a list of counselors. I can't recommend a counselor, but I give you a list, and you can call whatever counselor you want. You schedule the counseling, and then you can talk to that counselor, which is an independent third party that's approved by HUD. This is not psychological counseling, okay? You don't need psychological help just because you're looking into a reverse mortgage. There's a special designation for reverse mortgage counselors. They have to go to classes and pass a test to be able to do the counseling for you. They're going to want to make sure you understand it, so they're going to ask you about what the conditions are to keep the loan in place, so that you have to pay your taxes and insurance and maintain the home and live there and all that stuff. They're also going to talk to you about the possibility maybe it's best for you to sell your home right now instead of doing a reverse mortgage. If you're 85 years old and you've got bad knees and you're in a multi-level home on 3/4 of an acre with a ton of yard work, maybe you should sell. Now, there's some people who tell me, no way, I'm not selling. They're carrying me out of here feet first, period. Okay, that's fine. We can still help you stay in the house. And then we can also maybe give you the money to get a stair lift for the stairs, or to pay people to take care of your yard, whatever the case may be, so that you can stay there comfortably, okay? But misleading sales practices are people that try to confuse you. They talk in industry jargon, and you should not do business with people like that. You'll know when you talk to somebody just in the pit of your gut, and it's like, I'm not jiving with this guy. Let's keep calling around until we find somebody good. It may be me. It may not be me. I don't really, well, I do care. I want you to do business with me. But if you don't, I'm not going to take it personally. I've lost business to other companies before. Not very often, because I'm good and I give people great rates and fees. And I know what I'm talking about. But every now and again, it does happen. Okay, the fifth fear. So let's recap real quick. The top 5 fears people have about reverse mortgages. Number 1, losing your home. People are afraid they're going to lose their home if they have a reverse mortgage. 2, they're afraid their heirs are going to lose the home, so they're not going to inherit the home at all. That's a big fear people have. And of course, all these fears are just simply that. Fears, what's the acronym for fears? False evidence appearing real. That's what it is. Hey, that's good. Just right off the top of my head. I still have it, right? So losing the home, number 1. Heirs losing the home, number 2. Complicated terms and conditions, number 3. Number 4, misleading sales practices. And the 5th top fear people have is they're emotionally attached to their home. And that goes back to number 1 too, losing the home a little bit. But it's mainly, some people are very emotionally attached to their home and they worry about the prospect of losing it or leaving it even. But the thing is, you got to remember, with a reverse mortgage, you're not going to lose it. And a reverse mortgage can help you stay in the home. That's the whole goal of the program. That's why FHA, that's why this program became an FHA program, to help people stay in their home, age in place, because it's the least expensive, the best way emotionally and financially for people to age and eventually pass is in their own home. It's just know that our goal is to give you the financial resources to stay in your home and still be able to pass it on to your estate and your heirs. And I've helped people in that process. I've talked to a lot of heirs about after their parents pass away, things of that nature. So those are the top 5, but I'm going to give you a quick bonus one, okay, because we have a couple of minutes left, real quick. Impact on government benefits. Some people never call me because they're like, oh, I'm afraid if I've got Medicaid and I don't want to lose my Medicaid or my SSI. You can still do a reverse mortgage with Medicaid. It just has to be structured properly, because we can't give you a big lump sum of money. You can't put that in your bank account. Otherwise, you'll be in trouble and you could lose it. If the person you're dealing with to originate the loan understands it, then you'll be okay. The problem is there's some of these, I don't want to say scumbag, but lenders that want to loan you as much as possible because they make more money. Call it what you will. Okay, there are people like that in this business, unfortunately. And they don't take your issues to heart or in consideration. They just want to give you the biggest loan as quickly as possible without really worrying about your needs. You're worried about your needs, and when you're doing business with somebody, you're giving them your business. You need to make sure they understand what your needs are. I understand how Medicaid works a little bit. I'm no attorney, but I know how to structure the loan so you're not going to put your Medicaid at risk. So those are the top 5 fears people have about reverse mortgages, along with a special bonus. Feel free to call me with any questions. My name again is Bruce Simmons. You've been listening to Reverse Mortgage Radio, and I am the Reverse Mortgage Manager for American Liberty Mortgage Incorporated. We're in Denver in the Lower Highlands District. So give me a call at any time at 303-467-7821. 303-467-7821, or visit me online at reversemortgageradio.net. reversemortgageradio.net. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I hope you have a fantastic Halloween.
Call Bruce Simmons today. Ask about his free Colorado Consumer Guide, 303-467-7821, or reversemortgageradio.net. Bruce will come to you anywhere across the Front Range to make sure you understand how reverse mortgages work. Regulated by DORA, NMLS number 409914. American Liberty Mortgage is an equal housing lender.